This is the point where you take a useful idea all the way to a product another person can sign in to pay for. At this level, the work is still centered on one product. The next level turns the parts you repeat into systems that can run again. Tier 1 taught you to build, Tier 2 taught you to ship, Tier 3 teaches you to compound. Each level brings in a different set of Claude's capabilities, and what you finish at one level gives you the skills and structure for the next. Claude is hot everywhere. You've probably seen plenty of examples of what Claude can do. People are building apps, automations, agents, all kinds of things. Then you install it, go through the basics, and the question gets much more practical. Okay, what should I build? Which project will help me use more of what Claude can do? And where do I go after that? I've been building with Claude for more than 2 years, mostly by making projects around my own needs. Across those projects, I started seeing 4 levels of use. Each level brings in a different set of Claude's capabilities, and what you finish at one level gives you the skills and structure for the next. So in this video, I grouped the 15 projects into those 4 levels. So you can start with one that fits what you need right now, then build from there. If this is your first time here, hi, I'm Jenny. I believe anyone can thrive with AI, not by mastering the tools, but by building real things with them. I write a weekly newsletter called Build to Launch, where we apply AI to practical building and finish something real every week. Okay, let's get to it. These 15 ideas come from the things I have built or from larger projects where I used the same underlying move. For each one, I will show you the smallest useful version, the difficulty and time, what it teaches you, who is it best for, why it belongs at that level, and how far you can take it, and the complete starter prompt. The first project is a personal website. This is the easiest possible starting point, and the result is something you can use immediately. Give Claude one folder with your resume, bio, or a few notes about yourself. Ask it to create a clean one-page site with your name and about section, a photo placeholder, and your contact information. And this is the starting prompt. Make sure you can pause and take a screenshot. That page can then become the link you use for your job applications, freelance clients, or your social profiles. The beauty is how far this can go. Start with the landing page, then add payments, a booking calendar, event listings, or automations over time. The foundation stays the same. I have rebuilt my own personal website with several coding tools. What once took weeks can now take minutes. The website itself is the starting point. The second project is an expense tracker. This is your first project where Claude turns a pile of data into something you can explore. Start with your non-sensitive spending statements containing dates, descriptions, and amounts. Ask Claude to clean the data. Create a monthly chart, add category filters, and summarize the biggest changes. And here is the starter prompt. You learn how Claude reads structured data, builds charts, and turns them into an interactive web app. The useful result is a dashboard that helps you notice one spending pattern without scanning rows in a spreadsheet. One thing to watch out, Claude works in your local folder, but the prompt response and file portions needed for the task may be sent over to the network, so decide carefully whether any real financial file belongs in the workflow. Project 3 is a daily inspiration generator. Put your own notes, quotes, journal prompts, or reminders into a small collection. Ask Claude to turn them into a simple page that shows one item at a time with a button for the next one. And here is the starter prompt. It teaches you how to turn plain text into a small personal tool. It can become a daily quote, a journal ritual, a learning review, or any tiny experience built from your own material. I still have the real screen from my daily inspiration build because this was one of those small projects that became part of my day. The fourth project is a photo organization helper. This one teaches you how Claude can work across a whole folder. Start with copies of hundreds of photos. Ask Claude to inspect the available metadata, propose useful file names, and write a dry run manifest before it changes anything. And here is the starter prompt. The finish line is a folder you can understand, plus a record of every proposed change. Once you understand that pattern, you can take it much further. My image finder project grew from organizing images into searching a large library by visual description. Those first four projects all work with files you already have, your resume, your spending data, your notes, or your photos. Each one gives you a finished result you can use, a website, a dashboard, a daily tool, or an organized folder. You have not connected RSS feeds, APIs, databases, or deployment yet. That's what changes in the next level. Project 5 is an information digest builder. This is where your project starts reaching out of your local computer. Give it one public RSS feed, ask it to fetch the newest items, keep the fields you care about, summarize them, and remember which ones it has already known you. And here is the starter prompt. You learn APIs, summarization, storage, and scheduled retrieval. It is useful when newsletters, feeds, and updates have become too much to check one by one. My AI Daily Digest does this across many sources, and a strong first version only needs one feed, several items, and a saved ID for each item. Project 6 is a full-stack personal site. Start with the website from Project 1 and add one live connection. That could be your latest newsletter issue through RSS, a database-backed answer, a booking calendar, or a payment page. And here is the starter prompt. This project teaches you how APIs, databases, AI, payments, and automatic updates fit around a public site. It is especially useful for a creator, consultant, or small business owner who wants the website to become a working business hub. I have built these pieces across my own sites and products. Add one connection, make it work, then add the next. The next project is a data intelligence dashboard. Choose one question you care about, then pull a small number of records from two public sources. Ask Claude to normalize them into one table, calculate the useful measures, and add one filter that helps you make a decision. And here is the starter prompt. You learn data collection, data design, analysis, and visualization. I built the Substack niche analyzer and several large content analysis this way. The schema is the center of the project. The 8th project is a public app with payments. This is the point where you take a useful idea all the way to a product another person can sign in to pay for. You need authentication, a database, the core AI action, hosting, and a payment boundary. And here is the starter prompt. I have a quick viral notes that reached this level with invitations, admin controls, AI generation, storage, hosting, payments, and hundreds of paying users. Your first version can be much smaller. One sign-in, one useful generation, and one test mode payment flow. This project teaches you the full shipping loop. Those four are where your projects start living in the real world. They can fetch outside information, connect to database, update a public site, and support a real user or payment. You finish with a digest, a business hub, a decision dashboard, or a paid app. At this level, the work is still centered on one product. The next level turns the parts you repeat into systems that can run again. Now, Project 9 is a personal command center. You pick one job you repeat every week, write the instructions as Claude Code skill, define what goes in, what comes out, and add one check that tells you whether the result passed. And here is the starter prompt. You learn workflow design, reusable instructions, and quality checks. My content engine contains skills for recurring work across research, writing, and video production. Existing custom commands still run, but skills are the current reusable unit in Claude. Each skill becomes one module in your command center. Project 10 is a living knowledge system. Save material you are allowed to use, preserve where it came from, index it, and ask Claude to retrieve one named idea with a citation back to the source. And here is the starter prompt. You learn custom tools, knowledge indexing, retrieval, and source tracking. This becomes useful when your notes, research, and saved material are too large to browse manually. I have built this through a capture extension, a local vault, a database store, retrieval guides, and MCP connections. This next project is an autonomous research pipeline. You give it a topic, it pulls current research through Perplexity, checks it against what you already saved in your knowledge system, then organizes, ranks, and formats the findings in a report. You can use that report for an article, a decision, or a trend you are tracking. Next week, you can run the same pipeline again on a different topic. And here is the starter prompt. You learn MCP integration, multi-step research pipelines, data processing, and automated research workflows. My own pipeline follows the same sequence. Pool data, organize data, ranks data, formats it, and have an output. It is useful when you regularly research new topics and want the same process to produce a usable report each time. Project 12 is a one-center ecosystem. If your work is spread across a community platform, a database, a content scheduler, a newsletter, and several social accounts, this project connects those tools so you can work from Claude instead of rebuilding the context in every single app. In my system, I use MCP to analyze activity in the Build to Launch community. I combine that with data context, send the useful insights to quick viral notes for drafting and formatting, and pass the result into my publishing workflow. And here is the starter prompt. You learn multi-tool orchestration, MCP ecosystem design, and cross-platform automation. The important part is choosing a workflow you already understand. Do it manually at least 10 times. Once you can describe every step clearly, turn it into a connected system and add the other tools one at a time. Those four become infrastructure that improves as you use it. A command center, a knowledge system, a research pipeline, or a one-center ecosystem. The specific tools may change, but the patterns stay. How you organize knowledge, automate repeated work, and connect your tools. The rule is to start with work you already repeat. Do the workflow manually at least 10 times. Once you can describe each step clearly, then encode it. Tier 1 taught you to build, Tier 2 taught you to ship, Tier 3 teaches you to compound. The next level connects those systems to tools and platforms you already work inside. Project 13 lives entirely inside Notion. If you already keep meetings and projects there, keep Notion Agent a meeting transcript and ask it to write a summary, extract the action items, and fill in the owner and the due date fields in your project database. And here is the starter prompt. You learn how Notion Agent works with pages, databases, views, and properties, and structured updates inside a workspace you already use. If you want the workflow to run on the trigger, you configure that Notion automation manually. My house research database uses the same pattern to keep property information structured. This is useful if you already live in Notion and want AI to do real work without building a separate app. Later, you can connect Notion through MCP so Claude can use your workspace as live context and an output layer. That is a separate configuration you can add after the first Notion workflow works. Project 14 is a multi-tool automation pipeline. Take one recurring workflow that moves across tools such as leads arriving by email and ending up in a CRM. Let N8N handle the routing and triggers. Let Claude decide which leads are real, draft personalized replies, and flag the cases that need your input. And here is the starter prompt. You learn N8N workflow design, how Claude connects to automation tools through MCP or API, and how to decide which steps belong to automation and which need AI judgment. I use the same separation in my own workflows. N8N moves the data and triggers the steps, while Claude handles the decisions that need context. It is useful when the same multi-step process keeps moving between an inbox, CRM, spreadsheet, or another tool. The last project is a creator intelligence agent. Choose 5 to 10 creators and one type of content, such as LinkedIn posts, Instagram posts, Substack notes, or TikTok posts. Pull the content through MCP, then run 3 passes. Classify each post by format, rank the posts by engagement, and find the patterns that hold across the creators. And here is the starter prompt. You learn how to use MCP and Claude for content analysis at scale, engagement pattern recognition, and turning unstructured posts into structured insights. I ran this exact analysis on Substack creators and thousands of notes. The most posted format was the worst performer. The highest liked note in the group was 53 words of plain text. It is useful when you want to understand what works across your niche from the data instead of relying on intuition. Those last 3 start inside tools and ecosystems you already use. Notion, N8N, and the content platforms where creators publish. You finish with a workspace agent, a multi-tool pipeline, or a creator intelligence report. What I got wrong at this level was trying to build everything from scratch when the capability are already existing inside the tool I was paying for. So audit what you already have first. Tier 3 compounds your own system, and Tier 4 connects that system to platforms that already have infrastructure and reach. Those are 15 Claude projects across 4 tiers of work. I first put these 15 project ideas into a full written guide earlier this year. It has the starting prompt, difficulty, and time estimate for every project, and I've linked it below. As I look back at those projects that I have built, if I were starting new, I would choose the finish line first, then decide the smallest proof that would make the result visible. If you want something you can see today, I would start with Project 1 or Project 4. If your work already lives in Notion or N8N, Project 13 or 14 will give you a useful extension. You do not absolutely need to build all 15. What you need is one finish line you can recognize when it works. If this map helped you decide what to build next, like the video and subscribe. Share it to someone who's also looking for projects to build. Also, tell me in the comments which project you would use first and what result you want from it. I'm Jenny. See you next time.